Okay, so today I was going to bring up the topic of assets because that is part of the reason why I look like the fortune teller off of Robin Hood today with my scarf all over my hair, and um, I even have the glasses, so that's pretty fun. Um, so, assets are something that for me is kind of like a quiet topic, and there's several assets, but the one I want to touch on for today is about some of the assets we have is real estate. And the reason I am dressed this way in my scarf over my hair and my cleaning clothes is because I will be going to clean as soon as I get done with this. Although I could keep going on this knitting that I do when I get in front of the computer all day, but I can't because I have to go clean. And one of the things about assets in general is, in particular, real estate. We aren't the kind of folks that we didn't we we didn't just inherit assets. We didn't inherit um, what is it called? We didn't inherit the know-how for, real estate in particular for assets, but we figured it out slow and steady, and sometimes not so slow and not so steady. um, so, but my main thing for today is you're going to get dirty. Um, and in order to build, you got to go from the ground up, and you're going to get dirty no matter how far along in the building you are. You will have decisions, you will have, um, you know, things that aren't too pretty, um, things in general that we don't associate. We always think of having real estate as like this. Well, really, we could do that with anything, but we have this ideal, picturesque picture, and having the real estate and having or business or having the whatever, and then it's fine all the time. There's no trouble, there's no challenges, there's no it's just a easy road, right? We always want to have that picture of it being the easy road, and there's no complications, or in this sense, as in how I'm dressed, uh, you're not going to get dirty. You're going to get dirty if you're anything like us, and how we started and have built, you know, uh, just to what we do have, which isn't, we're not, um, we're not ones to have it all, say we have it all figured out. But for the few things that we would do different, I would definitely um, advise anyone that's looking into things what I would do again and what I wouldn't. And this is the one thing that I think, myself included, we kind of dismiss it. It's almost like we want to ignore it, be the ostrich in the sand. And and if we don't think about it, then somehow it isn't real. But getting dirty is part of it. Sometimes getting dirty is physically getting dirty. When I get done here, I will be cleaning, and I'm going to touch on what I'm doing just to kind of give some context as to how dirty things can get, or, an idea on what I have going on, at least for today. So sometimes getting dirty is making decisions that you don't know how it will turn out. Um, and and sometimes those decisions become um, learning experiences and things that you wouldn't do again or you would do different. And we all have them. And we just, I guess in a way, we really need to just think of it as working and think of it as part of the job of learning it, and not just learning it, but even when you learn it, nothing's going to be exactly the same. Um, but when you learn it, you still have to make more decisions. And sometimes that what you thought was a good decision before, or what you learned, isn't really the best decision for what is next that you're trying to make a decision for. But anyway, these things are very vague. Let me tell you what I'm going to be cleaning today. So we have a farm, which is different asset. But with that farm, there's properties around it, and we really love our farm. We love where we are, and it has just become, over the years, and this has been several years. Um, we have dabbled and then finally dove into real estate as just um, a way to invest, taking, earned income and building up the assets through real estate as one way, just one way. I'm not saying dive all in and or that's all, we should do, but just one way you can just invest your earned income, earn our earned income into, I will not say passive income because uh, I will be actively cleaning. So, um, so today I have a place. I call it the cottage, and there was a couple, and they near the farm, and they had this adorable home, and they unfortunately passed away. They were very, very up in years, and it was so just I loved their location. I loved that this, if I dare say, this little old man, he really was. He was a little old man, would drive down our road at 92 years old. I didn't know he was 92 at the time. And he would drive down our road and go to a property back in the woods, and he would chainsaw trees down. I didn't really, it didn't occur to me why he was, to ask why he was going down the road and like, what's he doing, because he lived on another road. But, um, but just noticing, because he was so sweet. And I remember he stopped in one time and gave us um, some jam or jelly that he made. I think it was blackberry from his berry bushes that he had on his own little homestead. And so he would go back there and he would cut down these trees. I'm like, he must have had angels around him because I had no clue who he was doing this. At the time, it wasn't our property at all. So, I wasn't like doing rounds or anything. It was just like hindsight, like, oh my gosh, he's been back there chopping down trees, cutting down trees in the woods. And he would cut the trees up because his wife, he had a wood stove, and his wife would get so cold, and he um, wanted to augment or help with his wife being extra cold um, with the wood stove. And eventually, they ended up transferring over to from a wood, um, not a a wood stove for heat. Uh, they had a heater, central, but there is something about a wood stove. Oh my gosh, we'll have to go into that one. I'll tell you how I used to do it, and that's the only way we heated. Another time, maybe I should make a note. So this little old man would go out, cut down trees by himself. He had no one else with him, and cut these trees up for his wife to be able to have extra heat in their wood stove for the winter. I thought that was absolutely adorable. even though I didn't know the details, I probably would have tried to do something a little helpful besides this little old man. Now he was probably in his upper 80s, maybe, because I think he passed away in his early 90s, 93ish. But he was still very active. But anyway, I remember he stopped by our house one time and gave us that jam, and he had hearing aids, he couldn't hear you even with the hearing aids. He was absolutely just so cute, and I just loved his lifestyle. Like, that's what he did on his homestead, that he didn't need, 100 acres. He had 1 acre, and he actually did a whole lot. Like, they made that jam on and in their home and homestead. So, and they heated. I mean, it just touched my heart. So, fast forward from that, they did end up passing. Actually, they passed away within a week of each other, which is um, goes along with some of care, um, the health care findings. People with couples. Um, so anyway, we ended up having the opportunity to be able to purchase their homestead, and I was over the moon to be able to have that opportunity. So we did purchase that little homestead, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, is put it in a way that brought it to its, you know, best that it could be. So I poured my heart and soul into this little homestead, the house in particular. Um, the other buildings on the property are still as he had it, but inside the house, I definitely poured a good bit of me into it, and um, ended up taking that and doing a bit of a long-term rental with it. We have other rentals. Um, and this one, you know, I didn't, I hadn't really played, and I still haven't played to this point in time of recording, haven't played with short-term rentals. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this little homestead, is do a short-term rental. But first I need to clean. And one thing, just as a note of rentals, if you have them, you know what I'm talking about. If you want them, here's my little warning in advance. You're always going to have work to do. And it seems like every time someone moves out, you will paint every single time. Um, so, anyway, so my experiment right now is to transition from a long-term rental to a short-term rental. And I have some ideas up my sleeve, and I've had them. Actually, I wanted to do that before I made it a long-term rental, and I never did. Because, like I said, I poured my heart and soul into this a little bit. Not fully. It's not like I was like, you know, uh, over the top. I tried to stay within the realm of what I was going for and what was best for that property. But I didn't. At the time, I didn't know if I would have the bandwidth. I didn't know if I would have the capability. It is all new. I don't know how to do it. But you know what? If I can figure out, not just me, if we could figure out how to even have gone into having real estate at all, there's no reason I can't try to figure out how to do a short-term rental. And I think I'm going to do it. As in, I'm going to do it and I'm going to figure it out. But so as an experiment, I'm going to turn this long-term rental into a short-term rental and see how it goes. And the benefit is, again, with most everything, I can change my mind. I can go back to a long-term rental. I mean, that's not a big deal. Um, it's harder, if you have a long-term rental, tenant and you're like, you know what, I really want to just, you need to go. I really want to have this. I want to try this out. That's a little harder. So, and not right. So, now that no one's in there, I'm gonna clean it up and try this experiment, and I'll keep you posted, along with some of the up my sleeve kind of experiment stuff to do along with this short-term rental idea. So, just wanted to touch on like what I do when this isn't just rentals that I do this on. This is even at home. But some of the things that I do, I think I'm probably the only one, and I'm really not. This is what I do. So if this helps your feelings, or maybe this will give you a little incentive, or just some encouragement that you're not alone, um, even at home. But specifically today, I'm going to be doing this um, over the next hour, few hours, more than a few hours. It's going to take multiple hours today to do this, and that is I'm going to go through basically three different phases, and one is the clear out. Um, no matter what, short term, long term, there's going to be things left behind, and I have to make the decision within the clear out. I always do that, the clearing out. Even at home, it has to be cleared out. Like everything needs to be put back. It either gets trashed or donated if it's on the rental side. And then if it's a home, of course, trash, donate, or put where it goes, right? Um, and then after clearing out, after this cottage is cleared out today, totally, I will be cleaning it up. And that to me is kind of um it's kind of bittersweet because well, honestly, one of the things is vacuuming, and I absolutely love vacuuming. I love horizontal surfaces being cleaned. I love the floors being cleaned. I love that. That's my favorite part of cleaning. But with the cleanup, it's actually, for me, it's three phases within that. Number one is vacuuming. So everything gets vacuumed or wiped off. So ceiling fans. Now this is deep clean. I'm talking deep clean. Um, this isn't like a maintenance clean. This is a deep clean. Um, so go through ceiling fans, light fixtures, doors, um, what is it? The air intakes, even on top, like moldings and trim and windows, all of it. But anyway, the vacuuming gets done because there ends up being like little stragglers of dust or cobwebs or anything like that. Um, and so everything gets vacuumed. Then everything gets actually cleaned. So that's when whatever product gets brought out, and then things get actually cleaned. Like the toilet gets cleaned, the mirrors get cleaned, the windows, get Windex, whatever, or vinegar. And then after all the cleaning, believe it or not, I vacuum again because it's like it's just for me, and I think for a lot of people, the cleaning creates more things to clean up, and I'd rather have one more last vacuum to have everything picked back up than to ignore it. And that's my deep clean. Just one more vacuum because, I mean, so many times I mop, like you vacuum or even sweep, but I really like my vacuum. Um, vacuum and then mop, and what happens? You get more dirt and you get more, things that were stuck on the tile or uh, on the wood floor or whatever. And and instead of me trying to do it in the moment, some things are good in the moment. I will just mop or steam the floors, then I'll go back and vacuum again. Because then I know it's actually fully clean. Um, now the other thing I do, now this is for a deep clean again, and sometimes I'll do it for maintenance. I'm a huge list person. I mean, I'm probably one of the ones that if it wasn't on the list and I did it, I'll write it and not and cross it off, um, or check it off. Most of the time it's crossable. I do both, and sometimes I color code it. So whatever. Um, is I will be making a list during this cleaning, and the things I will make a list of are short term and long term. Now, like I said, this is a rental going from a long term to a short term rental. So, what I'm going to do is um, make a list of the short term things, the things that I need to get done. And I know of a couple off the top of my head, like the like the has a plate name. Shoot. I can't think of it. Like when the door doesn't close I mean, it closes all the way, but it doesn't catch. There's that little strike plate or something, and it needs to be adjusted. Things like that. So short term, things like that need to happen. And then I will also make a list of what I note that needs to be done in a long term um, fashion. And things like that would be maybe, like repainting the porch, or um, maybe like this one would definitely fall under a long term, depending on the location and the house, um, would be changing out siding. And now this one has wood board and batten on the outside for most of it, like the front side. But in general, I will make a long term list, like what I want to have done. And then there's also kind of that need and want kind of thing too. So you kind of got to take that into consideration. But really, if it just gets written down, then it could be sorted. And then the next thing, it's sorted between long term, short term. And then the next thing I do is actually, I try to make a little asterisk or a star or something to make a note of what can I do, and then what needs me to do it, and then what needs someone else to do it, like a contractor or a plumber or whatever. And I'll make notes of that on the list. And then, of course, when it's done, when the whole property, the house is done, the apartment, the whatever, in this sense, it's going to be a house. When it's done, I'll make the contact, and I'll have my list ready, and then make an appointment for a consult for a contractor if it's something that needs someone else. But that is kind of, and then of course follow through, and that just takes however long it's going to take. Um, maybe some of the stuff is a me thing, and I'll go ahead and plan it. It could be like something I could do today after all the cleaning, or it might need a run to the store, one of the box stores or something, and then I can do it after that. But either way, um, I'll have to make that plan. Basically, it's almost like it gets on a new list, like get this done overall, because this is just a little tiny piece of this whole estate living. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. So hopefully it goes well. I'm sure it will, because I enjoy this kind of stuff. I love properties. I love homes. Um, I love just being able to create something someone else would appreciate. And if I would appreciate it, I would, think that someone else might appreciate certain things as well. Um, but yeah, so this whole thing today is you got to get dirty. Um, and no matter how far along you go in whatever kind of asset building you're doing, you're going to get dirty. And sometimes it's physically dirty, and other times it could be, like dirty in the sense of, well, that wasn't the best decision. Like things kind of, you think they're falling apart, but they're not really. It's just learning. Maybe that's it. It's just the learning. Um, and maybe don't be afraid to get dirty. I think that is something I know I can get into that. Like, I don't want to make the wrong decision, right? So I'm just afraid to make a decision at all because I don't want it to be the wrong decision. And kind of goes along with overthinking for me. But today I'm not going to be overthinking. The headscarf and all, I will be not overthinking. I will be over cleaning. So, but yeah, that's what one of the things that under the whole estate living of assets is for us is real estate. It's just one of many that you can have, and seems as though a lot of people are interested in real estate. And if you're not interested in real estate, don't do it. Like I just have this affinity for homes, and I absolutely could dabble in homes every day. Like something about them. And I don't mean like a fixer upper TV show or anything like that necessarily, even just making something better than it was for someone else. Um, because I mean, in the end, it's really about who you share that home with. And the more I think of it being comfortable, the more I think we would gather together more. And if that takes me getting dirty like this today, so be it. Um, but yeah, that's what I'll be doing today. Don't be afraid to get dirty. Maybe pick something to clean. I don't know. But maybe even put the scarf on your head and look like the fortune teller off Robin Hood, the cartoon one, the old school one, of course. Um, and we can be twins. We can be cleaning alongside each other, and dabbling in our assets of cleaning and not being afraid to get dirty. So I'll leave you with that, and I'm going to go clean. All right, bye.